The Rescue Princesses. Chapter 4. The Dark Forest. Emily ran between the trees, glad that the other princesses were beside her. It was much darker out here beyond the castle walls. Low branches reached down to catch them, and Emily had to stop and untangle herself. "Do you think we're going the right way?" she asked. "Listen," said Clarabelle. "I think I heard it again." They stopped for a moment, trying to hear the animal noise over the wind blowing and the swooshing of the leaves. "There it is," said Lulu. The half-crying, half-grunting noise sounded much weaker now. The princesses ran toward it, slowing down as the ground became thick with tree roots and brambles. On the earth lay a young deer with one leg bent at an awkward angle. The animal turned its black eyes on them, trembling with fright. Emily caught the glint of something silver on the ground. "Look, it's caught in something," she said. Clarabelle knelt down next to the deer. "Poor thing! No wonder it made that horrible noise." "That looks like a man-made trap," said Jamenta grimly. "Why would anyone trap an animal like this?" said Clarabelle. "I'm sure it's not allowed." "King Goodland doesn't seem like the sort of king who would let this happen," agreed Emily. "How are we going to set it free?" Jamenta bent down to look more closely at the metal teeth of the trap. The emeralds on her wrist cast a bright green light over everything. Clarabelle spoke soothingly to the deer, trying to calm down the shivering animal. "The trap's clumped and really tightly around its foot. It won't be easy to release it," said Jamenta. "Even if we manage to open it, the deer still won't be able to walk." "Just get that trap open," said Lulu. "I've got an idea." She turned and sprinted away through the forest. Jamenta pulled a small screwdriver out of her dress pocket. "Could you keep its leg really still?" she said to Emily. Emily nodded and held on to the deer's leg firmly, its brown coat feeling velvety beneath her hands. The creature quivered, its huge black eyes opening wide with fear. "Don't worry," whispered Clarabelle, stroking between its ears. "We'll have you free in no time." The young animal turned its soft nose toward her and its ears twitched. It almost seemed as if it knew what she was saying. Jamenta worked quickly, loosening 4 screws on the trap, one after the other. The deer squirmed, and Emily struggled to keep it still. She kept a tight hold on the leg, praying that Jamenta could work magic with her screwdriver and get the trap undone. "Stay still, little one," murmured Clarabelle. Jamenta twisted the screws looser, one by one. "Almost there," she said. The deer wriggled harder, and for a moment Emily thought she would lose her grip on its leg. "That's it!" Jamenta pulled out the last screw and stuck the screwdriver behind her ear. Emily pulled the trap open, keeping her fingers away from the sharp silver teeth. Gently she lifted out the deer's leg. "Look, there's no cut here at all," she said. "Maybe this little deer just fell badly when the trap closed." Luckily, it's young, and its small leg fit right between the teeth of the trap. Otherwise, its injuries would have been much worse," said Jamenta. Suddenly Lulu arrived, crashing through the branches with a wheelbarrow. "Great! You got the trap open," she said breathlessly. The deer began shivering again, its wide eyes fixed on Lulu. But Lulu didn't notice. "I found this in the greenhouse." She pointed at the wheelbarrow. "We can use it to take the deer back to the castle." "We have to be really quiet, though. It's still very frightened." Clarabelle put her arms around the animal. "It's going to need a lot of looking after, and it's going to take a while for that leg to heal." "Let's lift it into the wheelbarrow on 3," said Emily. 1, 2, 3. They lifted the deer, which was surprisingly heavy, and set it down inside the wheelbarrow. Clarabelle stroked the creature's soft ears until it became still and quiet, as if it sensed it was in good hands. Emily and Lulu took one side of the wheelbarrow each, while Jamenta and Clarabelle went on ahead, lighting the way with Jamenta's glowing bracelet. They wheeled the deer past the golden gates, onto the grounds, and right up to the castle. "Let's put the deer somewhere safe for tonight and tell the grown-ups about it in the morning," said Emily. "They won't want to hear about it right now, while the banquet's still going on." Clarabelle nodded. "Good idea." "There's a shed next to the greenhouse," said Lulu. "It will be fine over there." Jamenta marched over to the castle windows and peered in. "Looks like they're still having their coffee." Emily shrugged her shoulders. "They're so busy chatting, I bet they didn't even hear the deer making that loud cry." They settled the deer down in the garden shed. Clarabelle found some straw for it to lie on, and covered its legs with an old blanket that she found on a shelf. Lulu pulled some cabbages out of the garden and left them nearby in case it got hungry during the night. The deer watched them, its big dark eyes no longer frightened. Finally, it rested its head on one side and its breathing grew slow and steady. Emily quietly closed the shed door, and the four princesses looked at one another. Their tiaras glittered in the green light from Jamenta's bracelet, and their eyes shone bright as stars. "I can't believe we went into the forest in the dark," said Clarabelle. Lulu smiled. "And now you've got a leaf on your tiara." Clarabelle brushed off the leaf, and then she laughed. "You've got a huge twig sticking out of yours." "Oops!" Lulu grinned. Emily picked the twig off Lulu's tiara for her. Then she turned to Jamenta. "I think your bracelet's really cool." "Thanks. I'd really like to make some more," said Jamenta. "I've got plans for what else I can do. I'll show you all tomorrow." "Let's meet up for breakfast," said Lulu. "Good idea. We should show King Goodland right away where we've put the deer," said Emily, smiling at her new friends. "If we tell him about the trap together, he'll have to listen. After all, princesses should stick together, no matter what."